Hello and welcome to the Yonatech video series. I'm John Yonan and today we're going to talk about setting up a serial interface between two routers. So let's get started. I'm going to just drag a couple of 2811s, my favorite routers, onto here, onto the desktop. We're going to call this one router 1. And we're going to call this one router 2. Alright, let's just spread them out a little bit. And let's go into this one here. And we'll go into the physical interface. These are brand new, haven't been set up yet, so no passwords. We'll go into privileged exec mode and then global configuration mode. And we're going to give it a host name. Router 1. And then on this one, same thing. Router 2. Okay. So let's go into router 1. If you notice, in router 1, right now it only has two physical fast Ethernet cards, or fast Ethernet ports. There are no serial ports in this, so we have to add one. So we'll just go into the physical section here. And we notice here's our fast Ethernet 0/0 and here is 0/1. Doesn't have a serial interface, so we have to add a card. And the way to do that is you see all these different cards that can fit into this device. Well, we're going to use, I know that the WIC1T is a serial interface. It has a single serial interface port. But in order for us to insert it, we're going to need to turn off this router. Okay, you notice a little green light here. That means the router is on. If we just click the switch, now the router is off and we can drag this WIC1T into place and drop it in. It's just as though we had inserted it and screwed it into place. And then we can turn it back on. Alright, so now the router is booting up. Let's go back over to the physical side and zoom in, and let's just move over here. So this is what a WIC1T card looks like. It has one serial interface. It's a female interface. Let me just drag this in. Here's what a serial cable, one of the Cisco serial cables, looks like. And these are male interfaces, and they would push right into this interface. You could secure it with the screws, and you're good to go. Alright, so we are now at the prompt, whether we want to use the wizard. We're going to say no. And now let's move over to the other router. We're going to need to do the same thing because it's also a 2811 and does not have any serial ports. So we turn off the router, we get our WIC1T, drop it in. It really doesn't matter which one of these slots we put it into. It's just going to change the way we access the interface. So again, we are going to turn it back on, and now this router is booting back up. say no, and there we are. Okay. So now that we have our cards inserted into here, we are ready to assign some information to those cards. So let's go ahead and, you know what, in fact, let's do this. Let's select a cable. Now you'll notice that we have a serial cable here, DCE and DTE. On a serial cable, you have to use a clock rate command, and it's used only on a serial interface that has a DCE cable plugged into it. So what we're going to do, on any serial interface, there must be a clock rate set on every serial link between routers. It doesn't matter which router has the DCE cable plugged into it or which interface the cable is plugged into. It just needs to have a DCE cable on one end. So let's select that. We will plug that in. You'll notice it's serial 030. This just means that you are in slot 3, and this is the 0 port. Okay? Select that, and we're going to also put this into the 030 port. Notice, remember, we put them into the same location on both routers, and they're the same type of router. So we connect that up, and you'll notice in Packet Tracer it gives you a little hint. If you highlight over it, it will tell you that you see the little clock that pops up there? I am on the clock side, or the DCE side of the cable, and this is the sorry, I got distracted here. The DTE side of the cable. All right. So we need to apply the clock rate here. It's not connected. When you see these little red dots, it's not connected. So we need to get these things connected. If I were to go into this device right now, and I were to get into privileged exec mode, and I do a show IP interface brief, you'll notice here's our serial 030 interface. It has not been assigned an IP address. It's showing that it's okay, that it's connected and it's ready to go, but it's administratively down, meaning it's in shutdown mode, and there's no protocol. The protocol is down. Well, we need to change that, and it's going to show the same thing on the router number 2. All right. Incidentally, I don't think we set the host name here. Router 1. Did we do it on this one? No, we didn't. Well, let's do that. There. Now all is right with the world. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, we have to get into interface mode for that particular serial interface. The way we do that is we type in interface, whoops, S, I'm doing this, you could type out serial 0/3/0. I'm just going to use the shortcuts S 0/3/0. That'll get me to the same spot. Okay, notice that I'm now in interface mode in this interface. Now I'm going to give it a description because it's always good to have a description, especially when you have many different connections. So when you're in this interface, we can type in description space and then whatever you want to give for a description, and you can have spaces. So let's say link to router 2. Okay, enter. Now we're going to assign an IP address to this. We're not going to be overly creative. We're going to say IP address 192.168.10.1 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Enter. Now we have to set the clock rate. We're on the DCE side, so we're going to say clock rate, and let's give it 56,000. And now in order to turn this interface on, we issue something called the no shutdown command. You'll notice that serial interface is now administratively down. Once we issue this no shutdown command, it's going to bring this administratively up. All right, let's do that. Now you'll notice here, interface serial 0/3/0, 0/3/0, sorry, change state to down. I'm not sure why. Let's do this. IP, whoops, show IP. I think I know why. Okay, all right. Well, let's not worry. Now you'll notice it changed from administratively down to just down. All right, it's ready to go. It really is looking for the other side to become active, and then everything is going to be right with the world. So, okay, so let's go over to this other device, and we will go into, again, let's do show IP interface brief, and you'll see we've got our serial 0/3/0. So let's go in there. Interface S0/3/0. Now we're in interface mode. We are going to give it a description. We're going to call it link to router 1, and we're going to assign it an IP address 192.168.10.2. Enter. We will now give it the no shutdown command. We don't have to give it the clock rate command on this end, okay? That only has to be on the DCE end, not the DTE end. So let's say no shut, that's short for no shutdown, hit enter. Once I did that, let's change the state to up and look at, these are green. Look at, we just got line protocol on interface serial 0/3/0 changed state to up. All right, that's looking really good. So now let's do a show IP interface brief. We're on router 2, and now serial 0/3/0 is up and up. And if we go over to router 1, we can see also that things have changed here. You've got this message here, change state to up, line protocol, change state to up. So if we were to do a show IP interface brief. There you go. All right. So that's how to establish a connection between two routers using a serial interface. We also showed how we would assign IP addresses to it. In the next video, what we're going to do is start configuring the fast Ethernet interfaces, showing you how to do that. It's very similar to what you just saw. And we'll be back shortly with the next video. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up down below, and please subscribe. We would appreciate that. And if there's anything that I can answer for you, or I've missed something, didn't understand something, I'm happy to clarify. Just mention in the comments below. I will be happy to get back to you. And if you want to see something, please let me know as well. We're always trying to help other people learn all about Cisco products. All right. With that said, take care, everyone.